The calm that changes everything. You didn't click on this video for more games, more tricks, or more pickup tactics. You're here because something inside you is tired. Tired of over-explaining. Tired of chasing. Tired of being someone you're not just to be seen. Deep down, you want to be respected, not just noticed. You want your presence to speak so loudly, your silence becomes unforgettable. You want to be the kind of man who doesn't need to shout to be heard, because he leads with stillness. This isn't about learning how to impress her. It's about transforming into a man who impresses himself. A man guided by stoic fire, emotional mastery, and a sense of inner command so unshakable, it forces the world and her to see you differently. So sit back, still your mind, and watch what happens when you do this once. 1. The power of non-reaction. She expects a response. You give her a mirror. There will come a moment. It always does. She'll test you, not always on purpose, but she'll poke your center. With silence, with sarcasm, with mood swings, with emotional bait. Most men, they panic. They explain. They overthink. They try to fix the discomfort. But the stoic man, he doesn't flinch. He understands what Epictetus taught. Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. He doesn't let her mood shift his own. He becomes a mirror, not a sponge. She expects you to chase. You don't. She expects you to react. You remain calm. She expects you to explain. You remain silent, not to play games, not to manipulate, but because you've built something inside yourself she can't touch, inner control. And that makes her look at you differently, not because you yelled louder, but because you didn't need to. 2. Turning pain into power. You took the hit and became stronger. She might hurt you, not intentionally, not always with malice, but with distance, mixed signals, or coldness. And it stings. But here's where most men get it wrong. They let the pain define them. The stoic man, though, he turns pain into a weapon. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. When she pulls away, you step back and level up. When she withholds, you don't beg, you build. When she forgets you, you remember who you are. You use pain as your training ground. You become more focused, more disciplined, more calm under fire. And without realizing it, she begins to sense something's different. The man who once reacted now reflects. The man who once chased now walks. And that transformation, that strength through stillness, it haunts her. 3. Discipline over desire. Your control is your magnet. Do you want to know what really makes a woman respect you? Not money, not compliments, not gifts, but this discipline. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. You don't jump when she calls. You don't cancel plans to be more available. You don't chase a woman at the expense of your goals. And suddenly you shift the dynamic. Most men become predictable, easy. You, on the other hand, you're rare because you're not reacting. You're choosing because you're not following feelings. You're following principles. You train even when you're tired. You focus even when tempted. You delay pleasure not out of fear, but out of strength. And she starts to feel it, that this man doesn't need her to feel powerful, which, ironically, is what makes her drawn to you even more. For walk away without a word and watch what echoes. There's a silence louder than any speech. And it happens when you walk away, not with anger, not with pettiness, but with peace. When she plays games, you don't play back. When she gives you confusion, you don't chase clarity. You just go. You don't explain. You don't text long paragraphs. You don't make a scene. You simply exit. Because you understand what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You rise. You don't mirror her confusion. You mirror your standard. You don't lower your value. You leave the table when respect is no longer being served. And guess what? She notices. Your absence says what your words never could. Your silence becomes the loudest thing in her life because you didn't beg to stay. You chose yourself. And in doing so, you force her to face what she never expected, The loss of a man she couldn't control. 5. Delay your response. Increase your value. Most men, they reply instantly. They rush to respond. They live on standby, hoping for her next message, her next crumb of affection. But you do something different. You make her wait, not to manipulate, but to show her your life is full of purpose, full of movement, full of you. Seneca said it best. He who is everywhere is nowhere. And when you're always available, always on call, you become emotionally invisible. But when you pause, you create mystery. And mystery creates value. She starts wondering, where are you? What's he doing? Why isn't he replying? And just like that, your presence becomes a reward, not a routine. Because the man who delays doesn't delay out of ego. He delays out of self-respect. And that shift in energy, she feels it in her gut. 6. Say no without explaining and watch her respect rise. She will ask you to bend, to give in, to compromise what doesn't feel right to you. And in that moment, you will be tempted to justify your stance, to explain your boundaries, to soften the edges of your no. Don't. Because when you say no without apologizing, without over-explaining, without needing approval, you tell her everything she needs to know about your strength. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius, that boundary she's pushing against, it's not arrogance, it's identity. You don't say no because you're stubborn. You say no because you refuse to betray yourself. And deep down, she respects that. She might test it, she might resist it, but she will feel it. Because a man who can say no is a man who knows who he is. And that clarity, it's rare. And rare is irresistible. 7. Emotional restraint. Pull her close, then let go. It's one of the most magnetic moves a man can make. You give a taste of intimacy. Then you let go. You touch her without clinging. You connect without gripping. You care without needing. Most men rush into intensity. They flood her with emotion. You learn the art of pulling back. Not from fear, but from fullness. You kiss her forehead and walk away. You listen deeply and release the moment. You give and then step back with grace. And that moment when she expects more, but receives depth instead of desperation, that stays with her. Because you didn't try to own her. You didn't try to consume her. You didn't try to prove your worth. You simply showed restraint. And that restraint, it's not emptiness. It's presence. It's the kind of presence that lingers in her so long after your footsteps fade. 8. Be the mountain that doesn't move. She's emotional. She's unpredictable. She might try to pull you into chaos. And most men, they go right in. They try to match her intensity. They raise their voice, argue, overcommit. But you stay planted. Because you are not her storm. You are the mountain she can't move. You don't sway with the weather. You don't shift with the tide. You remain centered. And that calmness, that deep still strength, it creates contrast. And contrast creates attraction. Because every woman is silently watching to see, can he hold space when I lose mine? And when you can, she doesn't just look at you. She leans into you. 9. Become unforgettable without trying. You don't try to be unforgettable. You become it. By honoring your silence, by protecting your peace, by showing up with principles, not performance. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You didn't impress her with fireworks. You didn't drown her in words. You simply live with stillness, depth, and conviction. And she'll never forget it. Not because you were loud, but because your absence said more than your presence ever could. 10. The final shift, you stop needing her, and that's why she needs you. This is a paradox. The final Stoic twist. The moment you stop waiting for her validation, the moment you stop seeking her approval, the moment you stop needing her love, is the moment she starts feeling your energy shift. Because now, you're no longer watching her stories. You're no longer texting her first. You're no longer trying to win someone who isn't ready to choose you. You chose yourself. You returned to your mission. You walked away from the noise. And in doing so, you became rare. You became peace in a chaotic world. You became depth in a shallow culture. You became the one man she can't stop thinking about, not because you pursued her, but because you outgrew needing her. That's Stoic love. That's masculine power. And that's how you change everything with one move. The shift begins with you. There's a moment when everything in your life shifts. And it's not when you get the girl. It's not when you win the argument. It's when you finally realize you are enough without the need to be understood. That's when your power returns. That's when people start seeing you differently. That's when women stop testing you and start chasing you. Because the man who doesn't need validation becomes a man who gets it effortlessly. So, if this message hits something deep, if it reminded you of who you were before the world told you to shrink, then let it stay with you. Let it grow inside you. And most importantly, share this with another man who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Everyday Stoic right now. Hit that like button. It tells us this message matters. Drop a comment and join this brotherhood of grounded, powerful men, because this isn't just a video. This is a movement, and your journey, it's just beginning. So until next time, don't chase love. Build yourself. Don't shrink for comfort. Expand with courage. Don't explain your worth. Live it, breathe it, walk it, and always remember, the strongest man in the room isn't the one who speaks first. The strongest man in the room isn't the one who speaks first. Go be the storm they never saw coming.